Nothing amazing happens here. Everything is ordinary.
Yo. Hello, Mesh. You think of the 41? J-Wade, Dizzy, Gohan was good. But nobody sleep? Guess not. Just welcome to Digimon. Hey, welcome. Why you up so late? You know. Yo, what's good, Zarok? Alright. Where did we leave off last night? Last stream. Let's check the Digilab real quick. We've got a bunch of memory up actually as well, don't we? Or we got a bunch of extra space now. We got a DX, yes we did. Alright, so now we've got 100 memory. We've got 18. We can move something to the party. Something good too, if we want. Or we could work on something. Okay, so let's I want to place again, but Steam wiped my 2-year save. Oh, that fucking sucks. Okay, so this Dark Dramon, I believe, was just meant to stay a Dark Dramon. This War Greymon, I think, was staying. Sakuyamon is staying. Hyberjamon, Banjoliomon. Okay, the Pokemon on the Digimon on the farm, they're all staying as they are. Farm Island 2. You are meant to become Mastamon when the door to another dimension opens. Arrow Vidramon, we're working towards Ulforce Vidramon. Yo, Matt Hendricks, what's good, man? Let me see. You're also going to become Mastamon, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember what we were doing with this thing, though. Yeah, I don't know. Tekken's a bad game. Were you also just playing Tekken late in the night? Because so was I, and I let that shit ruin my mood for a few minutes. The Scrapleomon is going to become a Leopardmon. We need to solve this case first. Everything else he's got good to go. Just refreshing my memory real quick. I think this one is going to become Chaosmon. Tashi Wild Hearts the Kishin on 2 different platforms. Oh, you play on PC and PlayStation, I assume? I am working on implementing some new things with my Reina gameplay, and it's been a little rough. But we endure. We will get better. You know what I mean? Piedmon in this game? I don't remember. Can you guys still hear me? My OBS just froze. Like my mouse isn't moving. Okay, I think we're fine. That was concerning. You guys, maybe one of y'all can help me out with this. I bought like several months ago, I bought like a giant fucking external drive because I have like I have like 2 SSDs in my PC, which gives me a few terabytes. But obviously as a content creator, you know, you're burning through space, whether it's because I'm downloading videos, music, effects, all the recordings that I do, and I record in a very high quality. So I need a lot of storage, right? Also games, naturally, of course. And so I used to just always have like a 5 terabyte external drive, but I filled up a few of those over the years, and eventually I was like, you know what, let me just buy like an even bigger one. So I bought like this big fucking 16 terabyte external drive a while back for my PC, and everything's fine for the most part, but sometimes it like causes my PC to lag, and it's really weird. And it's not that big of a deal, I guess, other than it just being a little annoying at times or a little inconvenience. But sometimes it makes me think like something's about to happen to my PC because it'll like freeze or lag for a second or two. And yeah, it just, I don't know. I don't know what to do about that, or if there's anything I can do about that. Or maybe if it's just like the drive that I got just isn't like a super high quality or something. I have an actual answer. What is your answer? Wait, what are we meant to be doing right now? Be something important. My investigation's gonna take a little longer. The Zaxxon form, man. Go check it out. Alright, Zaxxon form we go. Wait, do we want to add something in the party? We got the space. I think what I'll actually do is I will go grab that Digimon. We got enough space for it, and I don't know what else I want to throw in here, so this one to the party, and we'll move Ilzamon, I guess. Let's let me heal up. Windows Device Manager, disk drives, right click on the big boy and hit properties. Under policies, check mark better performance. Bet. Right. Properties. Hardware settings have changed. Okay. I have to restart my PC for that to take effect, but you know, it's fine. I'll do that later. Alright, but thank you for that. Hopefully that helps. Alright, we got the Digimon, so now let's head to the Zaxxon form. Look at the fucking squad, boy. Holy shit. I wish this game had like an auto feature where I didn't have to actually manually hit the button every time they finish speaking and it would just auto, you know what I'm saying? Like Persona or some other games. We love some late night Digimon, you know what I mean? We definitely do.
ターがデジモンの世界にも。
ああ、データを食らうイーターにとってデジタルワー
Stream
ルドは
proposition.
最高の餌場だ。
This is pretty sick. You want me to build this on stream?
奴らはこの瞬間もデジタルワールドを食らい侵食している。私はデジタルワールドの守護者たる最高位デジモン、ロイヤルナイツに名を
I will
連ねるデジモ
bookmark
ン
this
だ。
for consideration, but I probably won't do it.
我らロイヤルナイツはイグドラシルの意志を受け行動する。イグドラシルとはデジタルワールドを司る存在、秩序そのものだ。イーターの出現を感知したイグドラシルは奴らを監視し、さほど時を置かず脅威をオルゴスエラーと判定した。その意志に従いロイヤルナイツは奴らの完全排除を目的とし、イーター発生の原因を探り始めた。そして脅威の発生源を特定した。
Where my boy Marcus at so we can punch some Digimon? Nigga, what?
それは隣接する異世界、君たちの世界に誕生したばかりのとある電脳空間だった。
私たちの世界のとある電脳空間。
エレンだ。かのネットワークは人間の意識を完全にデータ化して電脳空間に出現させた最初のシステム。
That's hilarious. I had no
エレ
idea.
ンアバター、つまり人間の精神データこそ
Is
が
that cruelty to
イーター
animals?
発生の原因であると判断したのだ。エデンという電脳世界で現実世界と同様に、いやそれ以上にあらわとなった人間の悪意や欲望、激情、攻撃性、そのデジタル的に異質な感情データが奴らを生み出したと。
そんな。
無論早計な判断に異を唱えるロイヤルナイツも存在した。私がそうであったように。だが自らの結論を誇示し、全ての原因は人間にあると主張する者も少なくない。彼らは
It's just deleting some data. That's crazy.
滅ぼそうと動き出している。
滅ぼす？人間世界って言うと。
Off top, does anybody remember what chapter the door to another dimension opens? And I'll be able to get my Mastermon. It's probably closer to the end of the game, but
そうだ。この地上すべてだ。イーターを我らの世界から排除したところで、
because Leopardmon and Mastermon, like the Royal Knights and some of those other ones, you probably don't get until like pretty late game. So
人間を滅ぼす以外、イーターを完全に排除する術はない。それが
デジモンが私たち人間を。
彼らは人間世界に攻め込もうとしている。ロイヤルナイ
chapter
ツが
15, but
奇襲をかけ、
we're not too far off.
敵を止めるつもり
I
だ。
think this is chapter 11, if I remember.
攻め込むってどうやって？
Zamasumon.
現実世界には出てこれないし。
東京と呼ばれる都市では物質的空間であるにもかかわらず、デジモンが出現する現象が起きているだろう。人間世界とデジタルワールドは次元の壁と我々が呼ぶ原理原則により異なる次元時空として隔てられている。だがその壁に大穴をうがち、次元の隔たりに扉を作り出せば二つの世界はつながり、原理原則が重なって混ざり合い、結果あらゆるデジモンが往来可能となる。昨今東京で起きているデジタルウェーブの増大や異常はおそらく扉を開くための準備に違いない。パラダイスロスト計画とはそれだ。つまり計画を推し進めていた岸辺という人間は彼らロイヤルナイツの意向に従っているか、もしくは精神を操られている可能性が高い。
じゃあオメガモン以外のロイヤルナイツもこっちに？
二つの世界は 完璧に隔絶されているわけではなく、わずかな次元の裂け目がいくつも存在する。私もアグモンとガブモンというデータ質量の小さな姿でなら通過することができた。予期せず記憶の一部を失ってしまったが、私と同じく何らかの手段を講じてこちらにやってきたデジモンがいたとしても不思議はない。
You know, I feel like that's a trope in anime that's not extremely common. I don't even know if you'd call it a trope, but it's not extremely common, but I feel like it's happened in multiple anime where it's like this very powerful being is on the verge of like dying or is in danger or is trying to accomplish something, right? And the only way for them to get from where they are to like this other dimension or this other world to save themselves or their homeland or whatever the case is, right? They end up becoming something a little different or like splitting off. You know what I'm saying? Like even in like Yu Yu Hakusho, you have like Demon Fox Karama, who was this all-powerful fucking demon, and then, you know, was about to be killed, and so he went to the human world and invaded like a pregnant woman and then took over like that body or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I did a horrible job articulating all that, but I feel like I've seen this a few times.
自分たちの世界を救うために別の世界を滅ぼすなど正しいはずが、そのような破壊的解決を。
オメガも
Yu Yu Hakusho was so fun. My second favorite anime of all time. Shaman King OG probably did that. Yeah, actually Shaman King did do that as well.
君たちの力を貸してほしい。この事件にはロイヤルナイツである私ですら知り得ない謎がある。それを解明し事件を解決に導くには君たちの力が必要だ。
待たせてすまない。思いのほか検証に手間取ったよ。だがその甲斐あっていろいろと興味深いことが判明した。事務所に戻りたまえ。直ちに会議だ。犯行作戦を立案しようじゃないか。
私たちも行く。さっきの話も伝えないとだしね。お待たせ。それじゃあ京子さん、作戦会議始めちゃおう。
いや、あと一人重要なキャストがまだ来ていない。
重要なキャスト？私たち以外に誰が？重要なキャストってまさか。
たく岸辺を追い詰めるための作戦会議って聞いてきてみりゃ。暴走イノシシ
Manga with that trope I'm reading. What's it called?
それはこっちのセリフです。レジェンドとかどんだけあれこじらせてるんですか。そもそも何よ。アンダーゼロでも一人でいなくなってさ。あんたこそチーム戦向いてないんだから足引っ張んないでよね。
Yo, Kita Kita, what's good, man? Welcome to the stream.
悪いがこの作戦は誰一人かけても成立しないんだ。
I wouldn't exactly call myself a Digimon streamer per se, but I tend to dabble.
暴走イノシシアタック少女もレジェンドただし中にこじらせ少年も
Newest Exorcist. That's a manga I wanted to check out a long time ago and never actually did. The main character in that story looked really cool. Try to hack his memory on stream. Oh, for sure, for sure.
俺は岸辺を叩けるんなら何だっていいさ。早く始めてくれ。
You still on that Tekken 8 grind?
だ、そうだ。
I feel like I ain't seen you around
暴
much.
走イノシシアタック少女も異論はない。
Granted, I also haven't been looking, so that could be partially on me.
あとその前に
Choose the Rabbit Digimon as a starter. I chose Terriermon. I've played this game before as well. It's one of my favorite games of all time, so this isn't like my first time playing it or anything.
それがパラダイスロスト計画の全容か。なるほどな。
人間世界の破滅とか。
Huge Patamon fan? Patamon's cool. I'm a Vmon guy personally, that's my favorite.
その情報のおかげで私の仮説も全て立証された。感謝しよう。
いや 私っていうかオメガモンのおかげっていうか、京子さんその呼び方もうやめてっていうか。
それでは改めて作戦会議を始めよう。
Tekken 8 is Tekken 8 while waiting for season 2. Yeah, I just made a video talking about the 1.12 patch and how we're basically going to be waiting probably at least 2 more months for season 2. And you know, I got some comments that were like basically agreeing with me or saying like, damn, this shit sucks. Some people are saying that they're going to drop the game or whatever, or this is why I don't play this stupid shit and blah blah blah. There's a handful of people that are like commenting like I'm just tearing the game down and like, yo, what's up with all the negativity and da 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 da. And I'm like, all I did was say that it's disappointing that we're getting 2 more months with no updates. Like, I didn't feel like I bashed the game in that video, but I felt like it was pretty reasonable. I just think that we're 2 months removed from the end of TWT and the release of Clive, who was the final character for season 1. And now we're going to wait 2 more months. That's 4 months with like no real content in terms of DLC, balance changes, no tour. It's just like, it's a pretty big dry spell for the game. And I just feel like, you know, you lose a lot of players and a lot of interest that way. You know what I mean?
これら A、B の事実はおそらく無関係ではない。A を達成するために B の実行が不可欠だったのだろう。そして A はまだ達成
Just found the communication questionable. This is an ongoing trend that I've noticed. Wow. It's not even just Bandai Namco. It's just it's most game companies. I feel like very few developers do a very good job of like communicating with their audience and being transparent about what's going on in the timeline. And but yeah, I just feel like Bandai Namco in particular is really bad about communication, where they'll either just give you radio silence or they'll be very vague about shit. And it's just like, dog, like, it can't be that hard.
およびパラダイスロスト計画の全面阻止の同時達成が可能となる。
いきなり頭パーン。
B 実行の理由はこの際気にすんなってか。いくらなんでも強引すぎんだろう。
名推理とは得てしてそういうものさ。だが至極まっとうな君の疑念の雲を払うため、私が新しく手に入れた証拠をお披露目するとしよう。
相変わらずつかみどころねえのな。
最近起きた迷いが事件の発生場所。そして
For everyone's sake, but especially for Bandai Namco's, I hope season 2 is a fucking banger, man.
定常的に安定状態にある大規模なエネルギー場の存在が浮かび上がった。東京全域を覆う円環状のエネルギーの流れ。私はこの環状ネットワークをデジタルラインと名付けた。驚くべきことにデジタルウェーブで構築されたこのエネルギー場は十中八九上白岸辺たちの手によってだ。各地に配置されたエデンスポットもどうやらエネルギー場の構築に関連していたらしい。
そうか。新宿でオタクがジャンプしたネットワークはこいつだったのか。
ほうほう。
エデンスポットにそんな秘密があったとはな。要は流脈みたいな道ができてるってことだろ。
その通り。このネットワークは流脈、レイラインなど古くから存在する超自然的なエネルギー場と酷似している。デジタル用のエネルギーライン。岸辺たちは長い時間をかけてデジタルラインを整備して。
Yeah, nerdy, I ain't gonna hold you. As much as I rock with Jin, cool character, love him. If that character ever gets any fucking stronger than he already is, I might take myself out.
デジタルウェーブを循環させる構造は、それ自体がエネルギー反応炉であることを示している。蓄積し、冷気させ、増幅して放出する。このデジタルラインに蓄積された膨大なエネルギー量のデジタルウェーブを放出することで扉が開くのだと私は考える。 エネルギーの冷気状態から推測するに、パラダイスロスト計画はいつ実行されても不思議はない状況と言える。そして現在エネルギーの流れに著しい変化が見られるポイントがある。エネルギーの流れを追いたどり着いた先は六本木だ。六本木の地下には上城の研究施設がある。
I don't want Jin to use all his old movements combined. Brother, are you aware how insanely broken Tekken 3 and 4 Jin were?
なんともそっけない政府関連施設じみた名称だと思わないか？そうだ、以前調査した地下道、その奥にあった例の施設だ。君のログ情報を追跡した結果、上白優子と別れた地点と座標軸が一致した。本丸は間違いなくここだ。
そこを攻め落とせば優子奪還、一生は確実ってわけか。けど計画阻止は微妙だな。 A 達成に B 実行が必要だったとして B が実行された時点で A 達成に必要な条件 C が成立しているなら、すでに B は
He made that shit way more complicated than it needed to be. Yeah, I know her dumb ass can't keep up. That was lame.
抜かりはないさ、オラタ君。デジタルウェーブの制御自体を妨害するんだ。説明した通り、デジタルラインはデジタルウェーブの流れを制御して構築された人工物だ。その制御はエデンスポットをはじめとする各種装置の稼働やコンピュータオペレーティングで行われている。つまりそれらを妨害できれば、
なんともアナログな方法だな。要は電源を落としちまえってことだろ。
その通り。しかし向こうもそこが弱点なのは承知しているはずだ。予備電源の一つや二つ用意しているだろう。だが同時多発的に工作を行えば必ずほころびは生じるはずだ。
いっぱい人を集めて一斉に電源を送るとか。
アホ、そんなもん東京中を停電させりゃ一発だろ。そっちは俺に任せてくれ、京子さん。
東京中をってだからどうやって？
はん、俺はハッカーだぜ。
Going back and playing the old Tekken games is probably still pretty fun. But I feel like those are games you really had to be there for to truly appreciate. Like you had to be there at the time. Like especially Tekken 3 through 5. Like that's such an incredible run, dog. Like you really, really had to be there. Cause like you can still go back and appreciate it. Cause like there's some really cool stages and costumes. The soundtracks are fucking elite. I think that's the best run of music in Tekken. And there's some really cool characters and stuff. But you know, obviously those games are old and outdated. You know what I'm saying? So, and you don't really get to like live through it the way some of us did who grew up with those games. It's so, you know, it's not like going back and playing an old RPG where it's like, oh yeah, like visually this game's like outdated, but it's still, you know what I'm saying? I don't think going back and playing old fighting games hits the same as going back and like playing an old RPG that you never played before, you know? But anyway, yeah, Jin was crazy broken back in Tekken 4.
なるほど。君には各地にあるエデンスポットへのハッキングを依頼しようと考えていたのだが、確実に岸辺の今日つくとするなら絡めてから攻めるべきだ。美なるかな美なるかな無形に至る。
お、いいね、孫子。真なるかな真なるかな無性に至る。
まあわかんないけどわかった。わかんないようでわかった。あなたがそっちなら私たちは言うこっちだね。だよね。
理解が早くて助かる。では君たちは地下道から六本木地下施設へ向かってくれたまえ。童貞は助手が把握しているはずだ。
そんじゃ 同時作戦開始だ。優子は任せたぜ。
よーし、優子
Alright, let's get it.
でもってパラパラダンス計画なんてのも絶対阻止だ。
Don't think that's what it was called, but get it.
Wow.
Wow.
こんな大きいトンネルがあったとは。じめっとしてるし、壁がうにょうにょってしてて、いかにも地下っぽ。あ？うにょうにょ？あれ？ここちょっとだけデジタルシフトしてない？
What was your first clue?
以前よりデジタルウェーブの影響が濃くなっているな。おそらくデジモンやイーターも現れるだろう。気を引き締めてくれ。
オッケー。ゆうこっちを助ける前にヘロヘロになっちゃ元も子もないもんね。いくよー。六本木目指してレッツワーキン。
Any hopes for an impact? I think that game, no matter what, is going to be pretty niche. I just hope it's fun. It's not going to be super mega popular, right? And it's a pretty low budget title. We knew that going into the development of the game, that they were not given a very large budget to make the game, which is why visually it doesn't look all that impressive, and probably not going to be, you know, it's not going to be no AAA title. But $60 is crazy for net impact. Well, the thing is, I very rarely trip about the price of games, because I just always assume and expect any game and every game to be $60. That's just standard practice to me. Most games are that price, and so I don't really worry about it. Is that game going to be worth $60? I guess time will tell. In terms of single player content, I'm not really expecting much, honestly. And in terms of the quality of the game, I know who's behind it and the budget they had to work with. So, you know, that game could definitely be argued that the game's probably not going to be worth that price tag. But if I end up liking the game and it's fun and it's enjoyable, then, you know, it will. And you know, I always have this unique perspective as well, because I'm a content creator. So like, y'all know how it go. Like, I'm going to pick the game up, stream it, make some videos. The game's going to pay for itself. It's going to be a business expense. Because like most games are worth it for me. Every game is really worth it for me. If I stream it once or make one video, then it was worth it for me, right? But DNF Duel was 50. Was DNF Duel 50? Miss DNF Duel, low-key. It's really a shame how that game went down. Still $50 on Steam right now. You'd think they'd be damn near giving that game away to try to get people to play it. How many characters currently are for the Hunter x Hunter game? We know the full roster at this point, but I don't remember the number off the top of my head. And we've already got confirmation of the first season of DLC and who the first character will be. So yeah, Digimon's really cool. I got 2 of them. This one we're working to get him to be a Chaos Mon eventually. They did give DNF Duel away for free on Epic like a year and a half ago. That doesn't surprise me. Anything down this way? Shlinko. Which starter do you think he'll use in Time Stranger? I have no clue. Do we already know who the starters are? I haven't like gone back and watched the trailer honestly since the state of play. Maybe I should. Patamon, Demi-Devimon, and Gomamon. Oh, then easily Patamon. It's not even a question. Well, honestly, Demi-Devimon wouldn't be a bad pick either. Because then I could go get a Lady Devimon. You know what I mean? That's a pretty good lineup, honestly. But I'll probably end up going with Patamon. Give me an Angie Womon. Fucking love Angie Womon. Yo, so y'all know that like one of my favorite anime characters, like favorite anime girls is CC from Code Geass, right? I saw this artwork yesterday of CC wearing Angie Womon's clothes. You saw that art too? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I saw CC dressed as Angie Womon and that shit was fire. Also, Chai, I got a question for you. I want your opinion on something. Something I thought about before. And so how do I set this up and articulate this? As I've gotten older, right, I start to look at like some anime and some manga and certain things a little bit differently, because obviously I've been into anime and manga my whole life pretty much, and I've been introduced to so many stories and characters since I was a little kid. You know, when I first got into anime and manga, a lot of the girls and the women in these stories were older than me. Then eventually they were the same age as me. Then eventually they were younger than me. And now I'm at a point where most of them are younger than me. You know what I'm saying? Like they're still 14, 16, 18, whatever. They don't age. And we do. So as you grow older, you start to kind of like look at things a little bit differently, or not be as interested in certain stuff like new material, just because it's like, you know, this one's a little fan servicey. I'm grown. I don't really want to see a 14-year-old girl in her panties and shit. You know what I'm saying? But how do you guys feel about, let's just say there's a character that you were like attracted to, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say you was crushing on, you know, fucking matter, Bulma from Dragon Ball, right? Well, Bulma is an adult in Dragon Ball, so that one doesn't work. Let's just pick another random character. Fucking, what's a character that like hasn't grown up? All the characters that are coming to my mind now are growing up. But let's just Yuuko Littner, okay? I'm not a big Gurren Lagann fan, but let's say Yuuko Littner, right? Yuuko Littner is like 14. Let's say you were 12 when you watched Gurren Lagann, and you're like, oh my god, Yuuko Littner is so hot. How do you, does your opinion on that change like 10 years later when you're 22 and she's still 14? Like, do you still go like, I really like Yuuko Littner, or is like, you know, well, when I was 12 she was fine as hell, but it don't really hit the same now that I'm an adult, you know what I'm saying? How do y'all feel about that? There's Time Skip Yuuko. I think Time Skip Yuuko is still really young, isn't she? Or she might be like 18, I guess. I forgot there was a time skipping Gurren Lagann though.
が赤坂にあるのはどういうことだろうな。
He's like 20 plus after the time skip. Okay, well, fuck. I was trying to think of characters who like didn't grow up, but I forgot she also does. Still though, I think y'all can kind of understand like the question I'm trying to pose.
ここまで物理原則に影響を与えるのだな。
どういうこと？
デジタルシフトのせいで六本木までの距離が短くなっている。
Yuuko looks pretty crazy before the time skip. When I watched Gurren Lagann for the first time, just because of how she was illustrated and dressed, I thought she was at least 18. I thought her and Kamina were like both older, you know what I'm saying? I didn't find out till like years later that they were supposed to be like 14. My crush on Misty faded with my age. And then that's what I was asking, like, do you guys have characters that like you crushed on like as a kid or as a teenager and it kind of like faded away because you got older, or do you kind of like still kind of fuck with that character, but it's just like, you know, I understand that like I'm grown now and it's just, you know what I'm saying? Also, no, I feel you, Yub. It's, and you know, that's something to be said about anime and manga in general, where a lot of times you'll have like, it applies to boys and girls, because like you're gonna tell me Jotaro Kujo is fucking 16 years old or some shit, like that ass nigga. That nigga is 40. I don't give a fuck what you tell me, right? And then likewise for the girls, there's a lot of girls in anime. It's like, all right, check me out, bruh. Never ever in life have I seen a high schooler built like that. You know what I'm saying? When I was in high school, girls did not look like this character does right here. I think I ever crushed on anyone in media, never was into girls, and I didn't know I was gay. Well, I didn't know you were gay in the first place. In a 16-year-old girl shaped like Orihime from Bleach, or what's her face from High School DxD? Any of the girls from High School DxD, I guess. But now you do. Today I learned. Damn, that shit was loud. Yo, Skunk, thank you for the raid. I greatly appreciate that. Welcome everyone to the Village and the Flowers. I'm Lotus Asakura, the one who never knows best, the Hanakage of Hanagakure. Washed up, scrubby Tekken content creator, fighting game player, anime enjoyer, playing some Digimon right now. You know what I'm saying? Hope you had a good stream, Skunk. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I experienced P5 at like age 20, and all the high school girls and dating them felt really odd to me. It was a weird thing to experience. Just another thing too. At least in that game though, like, yeah, there are some forced experiences, but when it comes to another raid, hello. Hey, yo, K-Dot, or is it Kai-Dot? Thank you for the raid. I greatly appreciate it. Welcome everyone to the Village and the Flowers. I'm Lotus Asakura, the one who never knows best, the Hanakage of Hanagakure. I greatly appreciate y'all for coming through. Hope you had a good stream. I also just received a raid from Skunk as well. Currently on some late night Digimon. We were also talking about like anime characters and anime girls and shit. Just off topic. Yeah, so going back to what I was about to say, I definitely feel you on that. Persona games are something that I enjoy a lot. And I don't mind like the romantic aspects and part of it as well. But it can be a little odd, especially now that I'm so much older. Because it's been, what, like fucking 10 years since Persona 5 came out? When did Persona 5 come out? Persona 5 came out in 2016. So it's been almost 10 years. But it's like, you know. The idea of putting myself in this high schooler's shoes and like dating this like 14, 15, 16-year-old girl, which granted, my favorite characters in like Persona 5 are all the older women, like like Tai or Takemi, the nurse, fucking Ursai Nijima, you know what I'm saying? So, My first playthrough of Persona 5, like I romanced the teacher. You know what I'm saying? I went after the older women. So my very first playthrough, I romanced Takemi. I like Makoto as well, but and I think she's meant to be 18. So I was like, you know, it's cool. We gon', you know what I mean? And then Persona 5 Royal, I romanced Takemi. So like I tend to go after the older girls anyway, but you know. That's all the more reason why it would be nice for Persona 6 to be in a college setting or just be adults or whatever. And people are always like, oh, if you want growing up Persona, just play Yakuza or just play like Catherine. I'm like, no, nigga. I don't understand why people always say shit like that, because it's like, dog, I don't understand what part about this you don't get, but I don't want to play, and not to say I don't want to play Yakuza, but when niggas say they want Persona but with older characters, they don't want another game. I want Persona. I want that aesthetic with that kind of music, with that kind of world, with that calendar system, with that combat system, but with the characters to just not be in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what niggas mean when they say that. So why people are always trying to sell them on this other game that's kind of like it, but not really. It's just a different RPG. You know what I mean? So. Now you all good, Dot. Now I feel you on that, Murasame. I had a very negative opinion on a lot of Persona fans back before I played it, because every time I turned into a conversation about it, it was topics like waifu debates, and seeing waifu debates with a bunch of high school girls rubbing the wrong way. Now I feel you on that. I definitely feel you on that. Because there's so much more to talk about in those games as well than just, oh, which girl did you romance? What girl do you think is the most attractive? You know what I mean? Remember Afro going to war over On? I'd like to believe that nigga was memeing. 17 hours? Sheesh, nigga was on that grind. Ready for the new Bleach game? Absolutely. Hope it's good, man. Hope it's good. People be too deep in with fictional characters on both sides of the fence. Yeah, it's just, some people just get really obsessive about it to a point where it's like kind of weird. And it's like, yo, it's never that serious. I think being so deeply invested into anything that it becomes your entire personality is just like, you know, kind of, you know what I mean? Nah, Lonely Warrior, I'm with you. I don't understand why she wasn't an option anyway. Also, I will forever die on the hill that they dropped the ball tremendously by not giving Shiho a social link. It's not even about like romancing her. I just think that she probably could have had the best social link in the whole game. Like, cause you think about like how that game starts and what she went through. Like, imagine having to visit her in the hospital, and she at first is like very reluctant to speak, and you know, she doesn't really want to get close to you, and she's like so scared, and like you witness her go from like this very distressed, reluctant to open up girl who eventually starts to like trust you, and you know, is able to open up to you and talk about everything that she experienced and went through, and you see her go through rehab and all this stuff. I feel like that would have been, the way I envision a Shiho social link working, it would have easily been the best one in the game. And I felt I was actually very disappointed that even when we got to Royal, they didn't add that. I hear you, Zarok. That's the problem though. Persona is intertwined with the idea of youth / coming of age at this point, and is used as a jumping off point to things like SMT and Devil Survivor. I think adult themes don't really work with Persona if it's in an adult setting, unless it's approached from an angle that doesn't water down the severity of the issues in game. But then again, I don't write Persona games. Nah, I don't think that's true, because you can be 18 plus or like, you know, early 20s and still create a Persona game that deals with mature themes and topics. Because like, let's say it does take place in college, right? You could do what you did in like Kamoshida's palace and that whole thing, but even like maybe a little bit further, because it's like a, you know, more mature game and everything like that. And there's so many things that we experience as like young adults that can be relatable and work in a very similar fashion to Persona game. And even beyond that, when it comes to like coming of age, I still feel like when you are like 18 to 24, and honestly all the way through your 20s, you still go through like this kind of like finding yourself period. You know what I'm saying? People on social media like to make it seem like people who think they have it figured out are always shitting on people who don't have it figured out. And they're like, oh, if you're not 25 plus with your own house and a family already, like, what are you doing? You should have this much money in your bank account by the time you're 30 and da 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 da. And then you have people who are like teenagers who think that 25 is ancient and that you're unk, you know what I'm saying? Or you're so old by the time you're 25. When the reality is neither case is correct, neither is true. When you're 25 is only when you're just now maybe kind of starting life for real and starting to figure things out, figure out who you really are. It starts like in your teenage years where you start to become who you're going to be, but who you are as a teenager isn't necessarily who you're going to be for the rest of your life. And in your 20s is when you really start to become who you're probably going to end up being. Not to say that you can't change later on, but you know, there's a manga that's one of my favorite manga of all time that I highly recommend to anybody, and it is called Solanin. And it's a story about a group of like college students / graduates. We're kind of just trying to figure out what the fuck do we do with life, you know what I mean? The main character is this girl named Mako, who has a boyfriend who works for like a studio or whatever, but really wants to be a musician. And it's like, well, I got to put food on the table, but also working this dead end job is making it so that I can't really pursue my dream and my passion. And she's trying to figure out what the fuck to do with her life. And is this job that she's working really all there is to life? And you know what I'm saying? It's just like, you could really turn that into a Persona style game. You know what I mean? I don't think that'd be a very difficult thing to do, where you incorporate those types of themes and ideas, because while it's not the same, I'm hitting puberty and finding out what romance is and girls and everything like that, you can still tackle subjects and topics like that or akin to that, as well as things that you start experiencing and going through like in your 20s, like whether that's while you're in college trying to figure out what the fuck you're going to study or major in or what you want to do after, or like you've already graduated and it's like, yo, like like this world's kind of shitty, like I have this degree and like I still can't find a job, and you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much you can do. Like if I really wanted to sit down and think about it, I could really map out just how you could structure a Persona style game, but with the characters being older. I don't think it would be very hard at all, honestly. Yeah, if you're, I think anybody who's like, I think every young adult, if you fuck with manga, should read Solanin. I think it's an incredible story that you would really like and feel like you relate to and everything. Yeah. And I feel strongly about this and this subject, or like that kind of idea, because of Solanin. Let me explain. So my favorite anime of all time is Fooly Cooly. Okay, most of you guys are aware of that. The reason why Fooly Cooly is my favorite anime of all time is a combination of factors, but I would say the biggest reason why is because I related to it on such a spiritual level. Like there's so much sentimental value and nostalgia tied into it, on top of the incredible soundtrack, on top of it being hilarious, on top of the animation. But also it's one of those things that, you know, I watched it in my youth, and that is one of those coming of age stories about your youth and puberty and everything like that. And it's something that when I watched it for the first time, when I first found out about it, I had no clue what the fuck I was watching, what was going on. I didn't understand it at all. But I was still like engaged. Like it still really like gripped me, you know what I mean? And it's something that I rewatched over and over throughout the years because it was on TV or I went and watched it like on YouTube or whatever. And eventually, as I got older, I understood it more and more, and it became something that I appreciated more and more, and I really, really liked. And so with it being something that resonated with me so personally and something that I enjoyed so thoroughly, I was like, as I got older, like as I became an adult, I was like, damn, I don't think any other anime will ever be able to top Fooly Cooly as my favorite of all time, because I've already experienced that at the right time. And that's what it is. You know, people have different reasons for why they enjoy certain things, or why an anime or a manga or a book or a movie or a song or an artist becomes their favorite. But I would imagine, not only for myself, but for a lot of people, it's about how closely you relate or resonate with that artist, that medium, that product, right? If you find a song that feels like it was written from your perspective or your life, you're like, damn, this song really speaking to me. Or a movie that feels like you lived it before, or a book that feels like, you know, it could have been written by you, but if you were, you know, had that writing ability, it's like, damn, this shit hitting close to home. And that ends up becoming people's favorite because they resonated with they resonate with it like that. And I was like, damn, I can't re-experience that because I'm already older now. You know what I mean? Like I can't go back and find this at the right time because that time has already passed. But that was a silly way to look at it, because it's like, nigga, I'm still alive. At any point in life, you can find something that can resonate with you in that moment, whether it's how you're feeling, what you're going through, what you've been through, what you're thinking, whatever. And so when I read Solanin, I was like, damn, this is like hitting all those notes for me. So I was like, Fooly Cooly is still my favorite anime. Solanin is one of my favorite manga, but I've always said that if Solanin ever got an anime, it could potentially surpass Fooly Cooly as my favorite if it was done right. I don't think it ever will, but it could be a movie, which it has a live action that I think is really, really good. It's fucking incredible. I highly recommend watching that as well. But even if it was like a 6-episode OVA like Fooly Cooly is, I think that would be awesome. So anyway, I say all that to say that because I experienced Solanin, I have full confidence that if they really wanted to, you could create a game that does what Persona does, but just in a more mature setting, such as college or even like a work environment. You know what I mean? Like you could have the main character be like a 22-year-old who's working like some, like a 22 to like 25-year-old who's working some office job in a cubicle, and like the boss is a fucking dickhead. They feel like their life is going nowhere. They got this degree and all they ended up with was this shitty job. You know, they either don't have a relationship or the relationship that they're in isn't that good. You know what I mean? And you can turn, there's so much you can do with it. People making these games aren't trying to appeal to older people. Their market is young. No, I know. And that's why you probably won't ever get what I'm describing right now. But I'm just saying they could. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like something that they couldn't do or like something that wouldn't work. And so we could want it all we want, but we also kind of have to understand and come to terms with the fact that as we get older, we're no longer the target demographic for things that we enjoyed while growing up. And you know, you and I have had these conversations, but I think Catherine was pretty fine in terms of adult Atlas games. I've heard it's really good, and I'm sure I would like it if I ever get around to playing it, and I would like to at some point, but it's not Persona. You know, it's a very different game. I think I will like that game a lot whenever I do eventually get around to playing it one day, but and yes, Solanin was made by the same author who did Oyasumi Punpun. Another memory up? Hell yeah. Have I played Metaphor? I have not, but it's here. It will be getting played at some point. My backlog is ridiculous though. I don't want to start any more games than I've already started, because I started a playthrough of this that I haven't finished. We're like a little over halfway through. I started Ghost of Tsushima and Nier Automata, Yakuza 0. Like I have so many other games I need to play. I don't want to start another one. And like I did turn the game on for like 30 minutes, but I really shouldn't start up another game right now. re-releasing Metaphor? I won't be surprised if it gets a re-release in like a year or two with like updated content and shit, just because that's just the Atlas formula, right? But